my name is Gavin Graham. I'm the head of 3D for Double Negative, one of the world's largest visual effects companies. I've really enjoyed myself so far. So I've just finished doing my own talk, which was quite enjoyable. I managed to talk about two of our projects, In the Heart of the Sea and Ex Machina, which, as you mentioned, recently won an Oscar. But I've also attended a variety of different sessions, which has been fascinating. Everything from more the business side of things through to screenwriting and animation. So it's a really nice, diverse mix of sessions at the festival.
Two ways in which VR is changing storytelling. What's your opinion on that?
So VR for us is quite an exciting new ground. It's something that everybody's very excited about, and there's a big gold rush at the minute. Everybody's seeing the opportunities that will arise if everybody around the world decides to buy a headset. They're just coming on the market now, and there's been a lot of hype, and Facebook have paid billions for the headsets and all of this kind of stuff. But in terms of creating the content, I think there's a lot of exciting ground to start covering, which people are only really scratching the surface of. For me personally, my relationship with VR goes back many, many years. When I was in college in the last century, I did a virtual reality project then. And at the time, the graphics were terrible, but the experience was amazing because I was able to mix things up. I had a room where people would go into it and interact with the room, and I attached some sensors to a chair. So there was a physical chair in the room that people were unaware of. So they put on the headset, they're walking around the room, and then they would put their hand out and touch the chair. And every single time I got an amazing reaction. And since then I've been waiting for the technology to catch up where you could have an immersive experience. You know, at the time it was OpenGL rendered, it wasn't in stereo, it didn't feel as immersive. But now that the technology has caught up, it feels like we're on the cusp of having amazing interactive storytelling experiences, and I'm excited to try and be a part of that.
Three things you think we should keep in mind, rather production houses and people in visuals should keep in mind when they're creating icons.
When we set out to create Ava for Ex Machina, we didn't have it in our head that she would become, you know, the kind of icon that she has. We didn't know that this would be a film that would end up being considered for any kind of awards, let alone an Oscar. But in designing her, it was a collaboration with the filmmakers, and we were not just churning out another CG character with, you know, generic features. It was all about trying to design something that complemented Alicia's performance on set, and trying to work with preserving as much of her performance as possible so that she could have a connection with the actor that she was playing against, Stonal. So everything about the film was a collaborative effort between the DOP, the director, the visual effects department, the costume department, and somehow being, you know, a key part of that collaboration has meant that we've enjoyed a lot of the film's success in a way that we might not have if we were just another vendor on a big blockbuster epic. You know, being such a key part of the creative process has been such a rewarding experience for us, and maybe resulted in you know, a really great response from the audience, where the Academy decided that this was better than films like Star Wars and Mad Max, who, you know, they had phenomenal work, but for whatever reason it just connected with the audience, and I think just being part of it being such a visual effects heavy character and creating that was just a phenomenal opportunity, and something I think we'll all look back on for many years as one of the most exciting projects we've been lucky to be involved in.
On the flip side, what are the things you should actually keep in mind which you should not do when you're creating icons?
Well, I think something to always be aware of is the risks inherent in doing things with computer graphics. Right. Looking back on some of the work I've done down the years, there's some stuff that I'm deeply ashamed of, because at the time it was the best that was achievable, but it just doesn't hold up anymore. So if you're doing something that's computer generated, you must be aware that a few years from now it might not hold up. So trying to design something where the technology isn't a key component of it, or isn't going to be a limiting factor. If you're going to design something where you're not able to make it look realistic, you're not able to make something that actually holds up photographically, then you should be staying away from it. There's a number of films that you could look at from a few years ago where they went too far with computer graphics for the characters, and now they just get looked back on and people don't buy the character as believable in any way. And it's a shame, because there might be a great story there which is being let down by the visuals. So a lot of what we do is trying to produce something that holds up photographically, and that might limit the scope of what you try to do, but at least it means that what ends up on screen is something that looks like it could have been photographed for real.
All right, but before I let you go, one last question. How do you foresee motion graphics and visuals in India?
Our collaboration so far has been just wonderful in terms of the working with the people. Everybody's so keen and excited to become part of this, and to really be able to raise their game in terms of the work that they're able to produce. I think there's a lot to be said for some of the Bollywood films that get produced are amazing fun, and they haven't been as focused on visual effects as much of a selling point. There's been a number of great examples. Endiran and others where there's been really high-end visuals produced, but for the most part it's not about that. It's about the entertainment, it's about the joy, and it's about the dancing and the music, and it hasn't been, I don't think it's been as important for Indian cinema to have the kind of quality of visuals that we've had to do, and the budgets haven't really had to go up in the same kind of a way. I think what we've shown with Ex Machina is that you can have a low budget and you can also produce visuals that really inspire and are believable. So hopefully
and
some
immersive,
of the
probably.
And sorry?
And are immersive.
And are immersive, exactly. So I hope that some of the teams that are here, and maybe some of the filmmakers that are here, are able to take some inspiration from that and think that it's possible to have these kind of Oscar-winning levels of visuals in their projects, and kind of aim for that rather than trying to pile in visual effects for the sake of it. And in terms of the teams, in terms of the crew who are working here, the experience is slowly building up. With the people that we're working with, they're getting more and more exposure to the kinds of projects that we push through, and they're making sure that they are able to match the kind of quality bar. So over time they'll definitely be able to take on more and more complex work, and who knows, before too long hopefully there'll be Ex Machina sequels getting done out here.